Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to Shloka Day. Today's Shloka is Shloka number 73 of chapter 18. Arjuna Uvacha
Arjuna Uvacha
Ashto Moha Smritir Labdha
Nashto Moha Smridirlabdha
Vat Prasadan Maya Chuta
Vat Prasadan Mayachyuta
Hitosmit Gata Sandeha
Stitosmi Gata Sandeha
Harishe Vachanam Tava.
Karishye Vachanam Tava.
Word for word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna said,
Arjuna said,
Nashtaha,
Nashtaha,
dispelled,
dispelled,
Mohaha,
Mohaha,
illusion,
illusion,
Smritihi,
Smritihi,
memory,
memory,
Labdha,
Labdha,
gained,
regained,
Tvat Prasadat,
Tvat Prasadat,
your mercy,
by your mercy,
Maya,
Maya,
by me,
by me,
Achyuta,
Achyuta,
O infallible Krishna,
O infallible Krishna,
Sthitaha,
Stitaha,
situated,
situated,
Asmi,
Asmi,
I am,
I am,
Gata,
Gata,
removed,
removed,
Sandehaha,
Sandeha,
all doubts,
all doubts,
Karishye,
Karishye,
I shall execute,
I shall execute,
Vachanam,
Vachanam,
order,
order,
Tava,
Tava,
your.
your.
Translation. Arjuna said,
Arjuna said,
My dear Krishna,
My dear Krishna,
O infallible one,
O infallible one,
my illusion is now gone.
my illusion is now gone.
I have regained my memory
I have regained my memory
by your mercy.
by your mercy.
I am now firm and free from doubt,
I am now firm and free from doubt,
and am prepared to act according to your instructions.
and I am prepared to act according to your instructions.
Srila Prabhupada writes, the constitutional position of a living entity represented by Arjuna is that he has to act according to the order of the Supreme Lord. He is meant for self-discipline. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the actual position of a living entity is that of the eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. Forgetting this principle, the living entity becomes conditioned by material nature. But in serving the Supreme Lord, he becomes the liberated servant of God. The living entity's constitutional position is to be a servitor. He has to serve either the illusory Maya or the Supreme Lord. If he serves the Supreme Lord, he is in his normal condition. But if he prefers to serve the illusory external energy, then certainly he will be in bondage. In illusion, the living entity is serving in this material world. He is bound by his lust and desires, yet he thinks of himself as the master of the world. This is called illusion. When a person is liberated, his illusion is over, and he voluntarily surrenders unto the Supreme to act according to his desires. The last illusion, the last snare of Maya to trap the living entity is the proposition that he is God. So Prabhupada writes very beautifully here that the last and final kind of like a nail in the coffin is when the Jivatma thinks that he is God. That's the final straw, so to speak, for the Jivatma. The living entity thinks that he is no longer a conditioned soul, but God. He is so unintelligent that he does not think that if he were God, then how could he be in doubt? That he does not consider. So that is the last snare of illusion. Actually, to become free from the illusory energy is to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and agree to act according to his order. The word moha is very important in this verse. Moha refers to that which is opposed to knowledge. Actually, real knowledge is the understanding that every living being is eternally a servitor of the Lord. But instead of thinking oneself in that position, the living entity thinks that he is not a servant, that he is the master of this material world, for he wants to lord it over the material nature. That is his illusion. This illusion can be overcome by the mercy of the Lord or by the mercy of a pure devotee. When that illusion is over, one agrees to act in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is acting according to Krishna's order. A conditioned soul, illusioned by the external energy of matter, does not know that the Supreme Lord is the Master, who is full of knowledge and who is the proprietor of everything. Whatever he desires, he can bestow upon his devotees. He is the friend of everyone, and he is especially inclined to his devotee. He is the controller of this material nature and of all living entities. He is also the controller of inexhaustible time, and he is full of all opulences and all potencies. The Supreme Personality of Godhead can even give himself to the devotee. One who does not know him is under the spell of illusion. He does not become a devotee but a servitor of Maya. Arjuna, however, after hearing Bhagavad Gita from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, became free from all illusion. He could understand that Krishna was not only his friend, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he understood Krishna factually. So to study Bhagavad Gita is to understand Krishna factually. When a person is in full knowledge, he naturally surrenders to Krishna. When Arjuna understood that it was Krishna's plan to reduce the unnecessary increase of population, he agreed to fight according to Krishna's desire. He again took up his weapons, his arrows and bow, to fight under the order of the Supreme Personality of God. From another parampara, at the outset, Arjuna was faced with a bewildering situation and confused about his duty in the situation. Overwhelmed with sorrow, he had sat down on his chariot and gave up his weapons. He had confessed that he could find no remedy to the grief that attacked his body and senses. But he now finds himself completely transformed and announces that he is situated in knowledge and no longer perplexed. He has given himself to the will of God and shall do what Sri Krishna instructed him to do. This was the impact of the message of Bhagavad Gita upon him. However, he adds that prasadan mayachyuta, meaning, O Sri Krishna, it was not just your lecture, but your grace that dispelled my ignorance, which is a very beautiful point. It's not the knowledge that Krishna has been revealing to him. It was actually the Lord's grace that removed all his doubt and illusion. Material knowledge does not require grace. We can pay the educational institute or teacher and receive knowledge in return. But spiritual knowledge can neither be purchased nor sold. That is a perfect understanding here. For to receive spiritual knowledge, you need the grace of the Lord. It is offered through grace and received through faith and humbleness. Thus, if we approach the Bhagavad Gita with an attitude of pride, I am so intelligent, I will evaluate what the net worth of this message is, we will never be able to comprehend it. Our intellect will find some apparent defect in the scripture to dwell upon, and on that pretext, we will reject the entire scripture as incorrect. There have been so many commentaries in the Bhagavad Gita and innumerable readers of the divine message in the last 5,000 years. But how many people have become enlightened like Arjuna? If we wish to truly receive this knowledge, we must not merely read it, but also attract Sri Krishna's grace with an attitude of faith and loving surrender. Then we will know the purport of the Bhagavad Gita by his grace. So ultimately, Arjuna's illusion was dispelled not because of all of the knowledge that Krishna has been revealing, primarily due to the grace that Krishna bestows upon him. Without that grace, we cannot make any advancement in spiritual life. So the fact that all of us are here early in the morning, chanting the Bhagavad Gita verse, reading, and trying to understand the meaning of each sloka day by day, it's just the grace of Lord Krishna that we're all here. We didn't do anything special. Does that mean we don't have to endeavor? No, not at all. We have to endeavor always. So what do Arjuna's last 3 words in the Gita tell us about the Gita? This is by His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. Arjuna's last words in the Bhagavad Gita are, I will do your will, Karishe Vachanam Tam. What do they tell us about Krishna's message? That it is both personal and universal. How is it personal? The Gita is an intimate discussion between 2 persons, Krishna and Arjuna. This truth, though self-evident in the Gita's overall context, can easily get overlooked when we probe its complex philosophical content. Lest anyone infer that some impersonal absolute is the ultimate object of surrender, Arjuna's last words unequivocally rebut that inference. Having been freed from illusion, nashto moha, he uses the unambiguous second-person reference, tava, to emphatically assert that he is choosing to harmonize with Krishna, the divinity standing in front of him, not anything else. Lest Gita readers get lost in a metaphysical maze, Arjuna's last words bring readers back to the personal implications of the Gita's message, a personal declaration by humanity to harmonize with divinity. How is this message universal? Given that the Gita is spoken on a battlefield, it is significant that Arjuna doesn't conclude, I will fight, though he does fight after the Gita ends. His words highlight that he has understood the universality of the Gita's message. It is not just a call to fight, it is a call to harmonize with the divine. Arjuna's last words reflect his enlightened self-understanding. He doesn't see himself merely as a reluctant Kshatriya who has resolved to do his material duty. He sees himself as an eternal part of the supreme whole, Krishna, who has consciously committed to align himself with Krishna's will. These twin truths, enlightened self-understanding and voluntary wholehearted harmonization with the divine, constitute the Gita's trans-contextual message. Such are the Gita's universal principles for living that have inspired millions for millennia and will continue to do so. Arjuna's last words convey that the Gita's core message is both personal and universal, establishing a personal connection between humanity and divinity, and equipping humanity with universal principles for living in harmony with divinity. So the Gita's message is important for us personally, and it is also important for us universally. So how do we better manage ourselves, and how do we manage our relations with others? The core crux of the problems in Kali Yuga is unable to manage oneself and unable to manage our relationships with others. So if we have really understood the Gita, that is the core message. But how do we do that? We do that when we follow Krishna's instructions. So when we dovetail our will with Krishna's will, then just like Arjuna, we should be ready to say, yes, whatever you desire, my dear Lord, whatever pleases you, my dear Lord, that is what I'm going to do. But how do you know what pleases the Supreme Lord? Whatever pleases bona fide Guru is what pleases Krishna. So we simply have to follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions for us over and over again, that we should chant and we must chant. And we should wake up early in the morning. We should do our sadhana very nicely. We should listen to Prabhupada's lectures every day, at least 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So we must not lose contact with Srila Prabhupada. Of course, we can also listen to our respective gurus' classes as well. But listening to Prabhupada's lectures every day is very, very important for us. So the essence of the shloka is Arjuna is saying, all my doubts are cleared now. And because you yourself have given me your causeless mercy, I'm ready to act as per your design. So Arjuna is dovetailing his will with the divine will of Lord Krishna.
If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.